Mahalo le Saphron Matamua. I'm Nu'ali'i Eteroa Lafaele.
And I'm Julia Arnott-Neenee. And this is Tech Voyagers, a series that explores the technology and digital realm as Pasefika trailblazers.
Join us each week as we recap the latest tech news and look into the wins, challenges, and impact of technology in our Pasefika communities. Talofa everyone, welcome back for another episode. Let's go. Oh, we're really excited to have you here. But sister, how was your week?
Oh my gosh. So we have had Princess Zoe staying. Princess Zoe is my mum's dog, and she's a princess because she's an only child of my mum. I think I got replaced very quickly. So Zoe came to stay, so it became a dog mama.
We love it.
And it's pretty crack up to us, honestly. Dylan was like, she will not be in our bed. She will da-da-da-da-da. The first night.
The first night?
The first night.
Get a princess.
She was in there in her dog bed, and then I wake up and I hear all these like footprints, like little paws walking around. I'm thinking,
That's
my
cute.
gosh. Then I hear that the nose comes up, like the little wet nose touches me on my arm, and I'm like, here she is. Yeah, she's making a move. She's like, why am I not in the master bed, the bigger bed? Next minute, I like sneak her down in the bottom corner. Dylan's out to it. And then in the morning, he like wakes up and he looks over. He's like, when did she get here? I was like, Zoe.
Yeah, magically.
Wow. Oh, yeah. So it's been so good. So good. I grew up with a dog. Like, it was just me and mum. And we had my first dog, Bo, when I was younger, at like age 10. And because it was just me and mum, it felt so lovely having an animal in the house, having a dog that we love so much at home. And so having now Zoe back into the house, it's I get excited about going home, patting her, cuddling her, all of her, just little stuff.
Just this little stuff. And when you do get a dog, I have to come early to meet because I'm scared of dogs.
Yeah, we've got to do dog training.
Dog training for
Ete.
Yeah, for
not
Ete.
the dog.
Yeah, because man, I get real like, oh. And then I go, I can smell my fear. Be happy. So yeah, I'm excited when you get your dog.
Absolutely. We'll do lots of puppy training, and then maybe you're going to be a dog mama.
Oh my god!
If I go away, you can babysit my dog.
Yay! I've got to go do that training first.
Actually, we should take you to puppy preschool.
Actually, because I always see those TV shows of how when people go and meet dogs for the first time.
Yeah.
It looks really cool.
Yeah.
But I'm scared. But you know what? I will overcome the fear.
You will. Hey, you've overcome so much already.
Thank you.
You didn't come this far to only come this far.
Ruff.
Okay, so on this episode today, we're going to be talking about all things AgriTech. As we mentioned, we're doing a lot of work in these following episodes to talk about decoding and demystifying some of the different types of technology that exists. And this week, we're going to be talking about AgriTech, Horta Tech, Vita. I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
Who knows? But before we get into all of that, we're going to go straight to Ete on the Beat.
Yes. Ete on the beat. Ete on the beat. Ete on the beat. News topic number 1. Can AI replace the human touch? Machines could one day nurture each vine and its need, but is it good for science or is it good for the arts? That's the balancing question here.
Ooh.
So once upon a time, we have Dr. Damien. So Dr. Damien was, he's like this big leader in plant and research.
Oh, cool.
So he spent since 1980s doing work, especially in regarding vineyards. So where wine is from.
I know you don't drink wine.
I don't drink wine, but now I know, you know. But Dr. Damien had this real cool, I think he just either had a good dream or he just really sees the future of vineyards turning up a notch with the changes of AI.
Oh, wow.
So what he really wants to see is more automation and also getting AI to help a lot of the farmers in vineyards to support them, and especially the growth of their industry. So that's one hand of the story. Now, the other hand of the story is the CEO of New Zealand AI. And he hears what Dr. Damien's saying, and he totally agrees that, automation is the place to be. We do want to bring this new technology in to support our farmers. But he comes from a very interesting space where he goes, that kind of technology is kind of similar to what's happening at our kiwi farms. Because in the kiwi farms, there's robots that are actually picking up the kiwi fruits.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So the CEO is like, yes, I see how that's related, but he also sees that if we are going to automate it, would that actually take away the art and the craft of vineyards? But also, people do forget, automation is not cheap. It's not cheap at all. So he comes from that direction where he raises that concern, saying, one, it's not cheap, and two, that craft will be harder to find in the future.
Wow.
So at the moment, I wouldn't call it like a debate, but they're all coming up together to really raise, is AI the future for vineyards?
Yeah.
And I see the perspective from Dr. Damien, because you know how we've been having these weird as weather moments up north?
Yeah.
So another reason why he wants automation with AI is either to try beat nature or to try get ahead, or also be prepared in case something happens like that. And also they want to move all their vineyards down south.
Wow.
So it's a lot of trying to, I see the perspective for farmers.
And just if we're imagining this, so say this is the grape here.
Oh, yes.
The microphone is the grape.
The grape.
So the AI or the robotic basically will be able to touch the grape, be able to understand how old the grape is the grape ripe or rotten, is that, and then we'll kind of dictate, whether or not it gets picked or not picked based upon its algorithm, based upon its like coding essentially.
Yeah.
And can it then go into like actually making the wine? Because I drink wine, but I don't know how to make wine. Yeah. And there are all these different steps and like components and a lot of I guess heart and soul. That's my understanding is all of the heart and soul. And so in terms of what a robot's they'll be able to follow a set recipe, but in terms of being able to, I don't know, think about something like random or like this grape might actually work with this one, but it's not from the past. It's something that's brand new. Right?
Which is, it's like, what is it called? It's giving characteristics to a grape, which is what our human touch can do.
Yes. Well, just our human mind can do, right?
That's so true. Oh my
wow.
gosh.
I just can't believe to think about that in the future. Like there's a lot of different types of premium wines. Like for example, champagne. You can only call wine champagne or the type of wine champagne if it's made in France. Like it's like a subcategory. So it's like a very premium subcategory of the wine. I'm like acting like I really know wine. Yeah, totally. Yeah. But imagine if maybe like 100 years from now, there was a really particular category of wine that was like human picked wine. Right? Like, imagine if all of these different vineyards become fully automated and if the costs of automation decrease, so the democratization of technology and just sort of accessibility increases. And so it'll actually be like a real niche to have a human that's picked human touched wine.
Gosh. No, because that's true. Because there's I saw this like documentary on YouTube about how people used to make soya sauce, and there's only one practice that still does it manually.
Wow.
But the rest is all done through factories. So, oh my gosh, it might end up being like that, eh?
I mean, it's so many of these considerations around heritage and culture and traditions.
That's true.
And the balance of retaining traditions, but also in a new context. And then also to keep up with the way of the world and the future.
Yeah, and demand and oh my gosh.
All the things, sis.
All the things.
Well, I'm just going to keep drinking wine for now. That was so good.
I don't know where this is coming from. Bless. Wow. What's even more interesting than wine is grass. So topic number 2 is Halter has launched Smart Grass.
Smart grass.
Well, for those that don't know, we had a waka experience.
We did.
At our Halter. And so a waka experience is where we took our people or even students into that workspace to see themselves in tech, but also what it looks like to work at a tech company.
Big time.
So Halter was a beautiful host for us. And for those that don't know what Hota is, they do a lot of software for herd managing.
Yeah.
So, man, it still cracks me up because we saw the collar.
I know.
So
we tried on the collar.
I know, it's heavy, eh? But one of their products is a cow collar where they put on individual cows to monitor where they are as an individual, but also as a herd.
Yeah, virtual farming, right?
Oh my God, virtual farming. So they actually sees, the farmer can just see without even hopping on the horse or the tractor to see where the horses are. Like
The cows are.
Yeah, where the cow is. Oh, wait. And the horse. Or the animals.
I love it.
So that's kind of what they do. But you'd think that was, that's cool. No, Hota has gone and created a new product or app that actually monitors grass. So the problem is dry matter. So dry matter is the amount of nutrition after grass dies. So I didn't know that people were really invested in grass, but what Hota's managed to do is they've scanned it by satellites.
Oh, wow.
And they've also got it through the collars signals from the cows and also photos from the farmers.
Wow.
To get the information for them to see if the grass is going to die, how much is it too wet?
Oh, wow.
Is it ready for the cows to eat the grass? Like, it gives that kind of like stats or input of what it is. But it was real interesting reading it because what they're really angling is the environment of a farmer.
Yeah.
Like, one, they look after the cows, but two, how can we create the environment? But a real cool thing was how that grass is a big market. I didn't even know grass was a market.
I mean...
No, I just thought, just mow the grass, that's all good.
I guess I love it as well because they're trying to, like you mentioned, they're trying to meet the needs beyond just the animal itself.
Yeah.
So if we think about what does a farmer's world look like, it's like they're trying to target different problem areas or different core needs and create those solutions around one whole lifestyle, I guess, or one particular context. And I think that's epic.
That's cool.
When I hope that one day I'll have this amazing idea that will be awesome tech idea. And I hear about how, Hota started with like Craig. He comes from a farming background, right?
Yeah.
And his knowledge, his deep expertise and knowledge around what does a life look like as a farmer. And then thinking, actually, there's got to be other ways to doing this, but not just stopping at one thing.
Yeah.
And going, there's another problem that's really interesting to solve. There's another problem that would be really good to solve. This would also enhance. And again, thinking about, wow, you could really have such a diversified offering to give for a particular...
audience. It's like I feel like they're building ecosystem of apps for farmers. Like, maybe it'll be an app for milk.
Yeah, totally,
exactly. Like
all the things,
or fertilizers or stuff.
Eggs.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure we already. Oh, I can't quite remember. I remember we saw one of those eggs that was like
in Samoa. Yes. That was interesting.
Very interesting.
Like the whole mechanics
We've got to think about something, sis. Let's try.
Yeah, we have to, because, man, people just...
grass.
Is the grass even greener? We don't know. And with that being said, that is Eti on the beat. Eti on the beat. Eti on the beat.
So in this talanoa today, we're going to be talking all about AgriTech. And to just start off with, here's a bit of a 101 on what's happening in Aotearoa at the moment. So right now, there's about 242 startups in AgriTech, and that's generating approximately $1.6 billion, and that was according to 2021. That was released by the industry Auckland NZ, kind of news and reports around the ecosystem and AgriTech innovation. And so again, it's really fascinating to think about, agriculture is a pretty well-known industry per se, or when New Zealand's known for it pretty universally. But then thinking about how we're taking these new steps forward into creating like world first technology or like never seen before technology within the subsector. And again, we're going to share some pretty awesome examples that I think just helps to highlight what is possible, but what we just don't know about. And what are the places that you could have a job at one day, or what is a brilliant idea that you might have been sitting on about grass or anything else relating to agriculture, horticulture, viticulture. I think those are all the cultures of agri-technology that you might have been sitting on, and then you might realize, hey, that's a real dream.
Yeah, like if you look at that flower, you could do something with flowers.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with it? 3, 2, 1, go. Biodegradable.
Edible flowers. There we go.
No, nature does that.
Oh, true. And that's why we haven't found an idea yet. Stay tuned to another episode.
We might have an episode before the season ends. I mean, not an episode. We might have an idea before the season ends. Yeah. But we will share other people's great idea. So the first one we've got is Tato. So Tato is all about digitizing the workforce in vineyards, orchards, and farms. So it was basically created to manage the human side of growing. So I don't know too much about this whole sector, but there's a lot of different ways in which people come and work on farms or orchards or vineyards. It could be by plant, by pack. It could be as individuals or in groups. And really a lot of it is kind of done as a pen and paper process. Yep. And so what this really solution was done, it was created by industry leaders. Or people that work in the industry, get deep knowledge of the problems, which I think is like so critical. And they were really trying to think about, well, how can we manage the human side whilst unlocking the valuable data, which is often lost on paper. And so they do a lot of tracking systems through any kind of, tag or bin label. And they have an app in which can measure both individual performance. It has a portal for employees. It has digital timesheets. You can schedule tasks. You can see
handy.
Really handy. Job budget and progress, invoicing reports, and really it's all about trying to digitize and boost productivity, and also trying to lift transparency for workers' rights and to give transparency on what a worker has actually done in the day, making sure they're getting paid minimum wages or minimum amounts that they need to be, making sure that they've got their paid time off or their lunch breaks, and really try and lift the transparency to be all captured within software versus just sort of word of mouth or pen and paper. So I reckon that's pretty neat. It's maybe not some big breakthroughs, but it is about small changes or kind of big changes for some people that makes things work easier.
And it's got kind of like an education aspect to it too, because a lot of the people that do use it might be new. These are new things that they're learning about. So
totally,
that's mean.
Yeah. Love it. What about you, sis? What have you got for us?
Okay, so we have, I love these names, eh? First one is Cropsy.
Woo!
We love Cropsy. So Cropsy empowers growers with groundbreaking technology to transform viticulture for people and the planet. So how it works is Cropsy has this, you can call it like a box that is attached to your tractor. Now your tractor will just go off and, do tractor things, do all the things that a tractor has to do. And while it's tracting around, it actually scans all the vines or all the plants that it's driven past.
Oh, cool.
So, and when it scans everything around it, it actually sends it back to the app to the farmers, and that helps them to see if there are any potential diseases or if there are diseases on certain plants, and to also help how to prevent and also fix it as well.
That's cool.
That's actually pretty cool. But then, so for those that were listening to our last episode, it actually creates a digital twin of that vine or that plant for the farmer to to forecast and to test other ways that they can see how the plant can grow in the future. So Cropsy, man, and it's so cool because you don't have to pay anything else. You just have to get that box to use with the existing tools that they have to scan it, so you can still do your work and still grab the data at the same time.
Do you know what that's crazy? Because there's been another example I've read about called fruitometry, which again is like in terms of different types of solutions within the same space, it's blowing my mind.
Yeah.
So this is a system that enables you to measure kiwi fruit and understand the density, or kind of understand, create density maps of orchards to help grow the healthiest, best quality and most valuable kiwi fruit. But that's within AgriTech. There's already two examples of particular solutions within the sector, which almost makes me feel so naive to the possibilities.
Yeah, there's always a solution within a solution.
Or a different application for each solution, which then if you personalize and create, and it's customizable, creates a whole new need and a whole new market.
Yeah, exactly. It's just cool, it's just flowers.
We've got something. It might come.
It might come.
Okay, keep going. Keep going.
And number 3 is oh man, this is a cool name, eh? Nanobubbles.
Say that again.
Nanobubbles. You'd sound like I've been practicing. So nanobubbles is like advancing irrigation. So I didn't know what irrigation was, but my view is AKA advancing fancy water spraying, because that's really what irrigation is.
So this is a technology solution for water spraying.
For water spraying.
No, you're lying.
Yeah, if you go...
this.
Yeah, and... yeah. So, because if you go on long trips and you see those...
Oh,
big, yeah.
Oh my God, that tickles.
Exactly. It's a technology for those, or irrigation is what they call it. Yeah.
Okay.
So when I first saw it, I was like, okay, nano means very small.
Yeah.
So
because you did nano.
I didn't have technology. Let's go. Young my Lord McDermott. But so what nano bubble technology is, to make it easier way to understand it is, it's literally about water and how water has superpowers.
Okay.
So if you think of bubbles in water, so if we had bubbles in water, it'll easily pop.
I just tried to make...
Yeah, we can try to make a bubble. There we go. But nano bubbles is actually it's invisible to the naked eye. You actually need like a hefty microscope to actually see what a nano bubble looks like. But you have to, it's created in water, and what happens is, compared to a normal bubble, it pops, but a nano bubble lasts longer, but the difference is it also is filled with oxygen. So that's the technology. So what nano bubbles is trying to do is, or what they have done is, in the irrigation process, they've actually created, it's kind of like a pump to create or to activate the nanobubbles in water. So when they activate it, it goes into the sprinkling system and they sprinkle it. And the properties of that nanobubbles is, while it's water going into a plant, nanobubbles can actually seep further into the root. And those little oxygen bubbles we spoke about goes into the root, and it helps develop the plant better and also stronger. So that is nanobubbles. I feel so smart thinking about it, but it's different.
No, I'm speechless.
Yeah.
Who thinks of these things?
A scientist. Because it's crazy. So it's something that's been done. It's a theory that's been brought up for ages. But they just brought it into that ecosystem or that realm of farming. And nanobubbles are real good because they're so small.
Sorry, just every time you say nanobubbles.
I love it, eh? But these names are so cool, eh? But it's really it's interesting because it also helps for like sewage areas.
Right.
So nanobubbles are able to helping clean waters and stuff, because it takes away the dirt through the little nano oxygen bubbles. So yeah, real interesting. All of that, and we're just driving past it while it's sprinkling water.
I mean, that's just... I don't feel like I can ever look at you the same without thinking about nanobubbles now.
I know,
but this is just, it blows my mind, because how many people would know about this stuff?
Nah. Well, I think farmers.
Yeah, that's true.
But then it's just like, that's their community. It's
right.
Like, no one really. It's just something that we drive past or we see.
Totally.
And it doesn't have to be farms. Actually, you can actually have a water sprinkler
for other things, right?
Yeah. And you can actually improve your plants by using nanobubbles.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And these are just some of the examples. As we mentioned, there's about 242 AgriTech startups.
Yeah.
You know, as we mentioned, we've got Fruitometry, we've got Hector, they've got something called Figured, Way Beyond, Machines at Work, Biolumic, Robotic Plus, Mint Innovation. You know, the kind of list goes on in terms of all of these types of startups that again, I don't know how much they get into mainstream conversations or just are featured essentially, right? And it does seem like, again, there's not that many of us in the agri-tech space. And if we think about the Pacific region and the context around, you know, I guess what we see and the types of farms that we see, or orchards or vineyards or just the growing space within the region, you know, it would be amazing to see ourselves creating solutions to apply into the Pacific region, right?
Hard out. And because, like, I remember we had a discussion about the even though these are real cool technologies, sometimes we always, especially for our Pasefika farmers, it's also hard to try and meet with, because these are high performing farmers.
Oh, totally.
Like, these guys are on,
and they've got to have a lot of resource.
Yeah, they've got resources. Where for our Pasefika farmers, we do have cattle, but a lot of our products too is also fruits and vegetables.
Wow.
So it's like also competing with that kind of market. So it's real interesting. It is the future. I hope we use these tools in the future, but also we hope to see them build these tools for the future too.
The creators and controllers.
Yes, exactly.
Creators and controllers. Amazing. So what are the takeaways we got today, sis?
Bless. So my takeaway is, here's your order. Yes, ding, ding. Is tech maybe, tech can be automated. And we see that a lot happening in the stuff that's happening in the world. But I think a big thing of my takeaway is to always remember the art and the history and the culture of the things that are getting automated. Especially with like the vineyard stuff. Even though it's easy, it's less work, but that effort and energy actually built the product at where it is. So never forgetting the beginnings of what's getting automated, but also be careful what you automate too, because it has a lot of, consequences or other opportunities that come from that too. So that's my takeaway number 1.
Yes. Takeaway number 2 is innovation in the obvious. I think Etienne and I have kind of semi-failed on that today when we sort of went obviously to the flowers and thought maybe we had some innovation that would spring to us. We might need some few more coffees for that. But, thinking about how things could be done better and faster, sometimes it's in quite unsexy solutions.
Yeah.
Like the grass is an example, or digitizing the workforce, or just things that, sometimes if you have the knowledge, the deep knowledge of a particular space or context, that lived experience can actually become a whole new technology industry or a whole new tech solution. And that might not be what's obvious to you as a way that things could be done better or differently, might not be obvious to others. And that's where some of the best innovation can spring from.
Yeah, it is the boring stuff. Because it's stuff that we do every day, eh?
Yeah.
Or, grass.
I mean, we're not going to get over that.
Yeah, hard to
Bubbles. Nano bubbles.
Well, there we go. Hope you got your pop out of those 2 amazing takeaways today. And we hope you enjoyed it as well. Bless.
Well, that's us, team. Thanks so much for listening. This is episode number 8 of Tech Voyagers. And we want to hear from you. What are the other intersections you want to hear us talk about? It could be defense tech, ed tech, HR tech, law tech, retail tech. I'm out of breath tech. But let us know on socials what you want to hear from us to chat about in our next talanoa.
Yeah, and you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. But hey, that's us for this episode. We look forward to seeing you soon. Tofa soifua. You have been listening to Tech Voyagers, brought to you by Fiberfale.
It was hosted by me, Julia Arnott-Neenee.
And me, Nuali'i Eteroa Lafaele.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you're following Tech Voyagers on your favourite podcast player so you get new episodes as soon as they land.
Join the talanoa and let us know your thoughts using hashtag Tech Voyagers on all socials.
And if you want to know more about pathways for Pasefika people in tech, visit fiberfale.com.